Hello YouTube, this is Michael Kazmierski Dunn if you don't know who I am, and welcome to episode 28 of the Blind Piper React series. So, this episode is an entirely different kind of departure from what I've been doing these last few episodes. Like it's usually been, this piece was sent to me by the coolest girl I've ever met, Hailey, also known as... And if you guys don't know her, the reason why I love her so much is because she has perfect pitch and is very musical, and I've just never really been interested in non-musical girls, and I've been trying to kind of... because I like Hailey so much that I badly wish to death that she was my girlfriend. And, you know, among all the girls I've talked to, and not like dated, but even just talked to, the non-musical girls are just not interesting at all. They're only interested in sports or hairstyling or things that I can't even appreciate. So it's like, how can I survive living with an unmusical girl for the rest of my life? I just can't. I really can't. And, you know... a car and a motorcycle about to hit each other. I'm gonna keep that in there because, you know, a funny happenstance. But, you know, I feel like, you know, how am I gonna, you know, if they don't have perfect pitch, they're not quite as musical as people with perfect pitch. And I'm so used to my sister Lizzie having perfect pitch that somebody without perfect pitch is kind of like, you know, somebody who's less, I mean, it's not this same analogy, but it's kind of like somebody who's less smarter than you, or doesn't know how to speak a language as much as you do, or just, you know, isn't as cool, you know? And all these people told me, like, you're gonna survive dating a non-musical girl. I'm like, I don't even think so. How would you expect me to be interested in sports, or interested in, like, card games, or interested in, like, cooking or stuff like that? It's just not as cool as music, you know? And sadly, besides Hailey, there are no other age-appropriate girls on a Facebook page devoted to people with perfect pitch. So that makes me think that, like, Hailey is, like, the one coolest girl, only one and only coolest girl left in the world. As if to say other girls are not even cool to me. Anyway, this past weekend, Hailey sent me yet another piece by one of her absolute favorite composers in the world. One of her favorite composers, Maurice Ravel, 1875 to 1937. And this piece she sent is a piano piece, and it is it's the second movement of a 3-movement piece called Sonatine. I don't know how it would be pronounced in French, but Hailey says Sonatine, and that's how my so I'm blind, you guys, and that's how my speech synthesizer for my screen reader says it. So a screen reader basically converts text into speech. So, this is the second movement called Minuet, and I know the piece is written in, it says D flat, but as a musician, I'm so used to calling it C sharp that D flat just sounds kind of incorrect to me. And also, I mean, I think the reason why they have 2 names for different black key notes is just so it makes it easier for people to read sheet music. And as a bagpiper, I hate sheet music. Absolutely hate it. I even shun sheet music because, you know, there's no such thing as sheet music in the proper way to learn bagpipes. In fact, the great Willie Ross said, if you can't learn to play the pipes without sheet music, you might as well not learn at all. And so I'm still of that belief. And so I don't believe in sight reading. Well, duh, because I'm blind. But even expert pianists, including a friend of mine from Australia, Hannah Silver, says that, you know, sheet music hinders your ability to memorize. you know? But anyway, this piece is in, gosh, I keep wanting to say C sharp, D flat. I don't know, we'll see. I've never heard this piece before, so we'll see how it goes. And so, yeah, I don't know the name of the pianist in this video Hailey sent me, but rather than keep bantering on about it, let's just give it a listen. I don't know anything about it because I've never heard it before, so this is my first time hearing it. So here we go. Minuet from Sonatine by Maurice Ravel. Oh yeah, definitely D flat. Compared to a lot of Ravel's pieces, this is not quite as atonal yet. Ravel is a very chromatic composer, for those of you who don't know any of his music. He lived on the French-Spanish border, even though he was of French origin. Mostly French, I think. With also Swiss ancestry a little bit. Oh, there we go. Now we're starting to get into the atonal spectrum of things. Hailey said this is a piece she would love to learn because she plays piano. When it went to that B flat major 7th, it almost sounds like a chord used in a barbershop song, a lot of barbershop songs, because they often go from Do to a, like a Do major to a, because it's being in different keys, it's easiest to understand solfege. They often go from a Do major into a La 7th chord, La major 7th chord in a barbershop song. So it kind of reminds me of that. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll show you at the very end here after this piece finishes. Ooh. Tay. Again, if C sharp, D flat, we're Do. It's just easier to use solfege because the intervals between any two notes, you know, the intervals are always the same. Like, you know, da da is Do La, so is da da. So you know, if you know the interval, you pretty much know, you know, the. Can't think of the right word. Ooh, nice low note there. This reminds me of a little, you know, jazzy, like the stuff that jazz pianists like to do. A little bit. Let's see. I don't know if the piece is over yet. Maybe not. Oh, it is. Okay. Yeah. Ravel likes to end his pieces like really suddenly and quickly without any kind of slow down or fade out. So, you know, it's his endings are pretty, you know, are, I guess you could call them like trickster endings. If I use tricky, that would mean like hard to play, but his endings are kind of like, haha, tricked ya. Like you didn't think it was going to end, but it did, you know? But here's what I'm talking about. So I'll show you one of my favorite barbershop quartets from Canada, the Nighthawks. And I'll show you what I'm talking about by the Do major down to La major 7th. See, the piece is in F, so F, And there you go, D major 7. And then it just goes back to a sol 7th chord. Now I won't play the rest of the piece. That will probably be another episode. But to show you what I mean, like that happens a ton in Barbershop. You know, Do major to a La major 7th chord. So yeah, that was Ravel's Minuet from Sonatine. If you're new to this series, feel free to hit the like button and feel free to subscribe so that you can look forward to some more rare recordings of really interesting music that you wouldn't otherwise be able to hear. And also a piper's perspective on really interesting types of music, from classical to opera to barbershop to, you know, whatever, including Sardinian throat singing. So, yeah. So, I hope you have a good day, and join me next for episode 29 of the Blind Piper Reacts series. Alright.